Hi, this is Jeff. Welcome to a new edition of my weblog. I'm going to highlight an interesting issue that I ran across with a client who was using custom applications to group their responsibilities, and I'll show you what that means as I go through this. So I've got screenshots as opposed to demoing this on a test system just to make it a little bit quicker today. So I'll get started here. So the gist of the issue is some organizations, when they develop responsibilities, they actually develop a custom application. Oftentimes they've got a custom Apple top or custom top to associate their custom programs and such. So they'll register those, and they have a custom application then to group. In this case, this is a grouping of responsibilities. So what I've got here is a standard fixed asset manager responsibility, which shows with the application of assets. And I've got a custom application where I've developed a custom responsibility where I've developed a custom application called JTH test, and I associated a responsibility JTH custom asset manager with that application. So exactly the same menus, exactly the same request group, exactly the same data group. So this is in a 12.1.2 environment, and as you guys know, when Oracle released R12, the subledger architecture changed dramatically. In essence, they quote-unquote standardized things so that a lot of the programs can be reused with different subledgers. And in that, what I'm going to demonstrate today is this application here associated with the responsibility. The system needs the application to pass through to an SLA program in order to run the concurrent program. So we're going to look at one example in the assets module, but we could look at pretty much any SLA program, create accounting or other things, reports related to SLA, where the SLA program would need to understand what application it's running from in order to know what data to pull or what data to process. So in this example, again, I set up a custom application, and the next screenshot I'm going to show here is going into the JTH Custom Asset Manager. You can see that at the top of the navigator, and running a Create Accounting program, which is an SLA program. This happens to be one that's specific to assets, but I could run another module, a generic Create Accounting program, or another SLA accounting report, and the same effect would happen. So it gives me an error. In essence, it says the default value JTH test is invalid for the application segment. So it's kind of a cryptic error, but in essence what this means is it's confused as to what application I'm trying to run this from because the application at the responsibility is not assets, it's JTH test. So this is, in essence, if it fails out or I'm not able to run this application in its entirety, run the concurrent program in its entirety because of that. So just to show you how this would work in a standard responsibility, I've got the fixed asset manager here. I'm running the exact same program, and again, if you go back to the screenshots at the top, fixed asset manager is associated with the application assets, which is this is a seated responsibility. You'd expect that. So as I go into that fixed asset manager responsibility and run the same concurrent program, create assets or create accounting assets, I get no error and I'm able to run this process all the way through. So in 12. Well, at some point Oracle introduced in my Oracle support, I'm going to show you a bug and a patch related to this. So I didn't do a comprehensive search on this, but in essence all I did was to get to this, I queried on what I knew was the profile option that became necessary in order to solve this issue. So in essence I could probably find a lot of different bugs, a lot of different MetaLink notes or my Oracle support notes that identified this issue. So I'm just pulling one particular one, happens to come from the receivables module. And this is, in essence, is the same thing. It's a different message. It's a different bug because this is a bug that's specific to AR than it is to the assets module. But in essence, the symptom is the same. Unable to run submit accounting program, which the submit accounting again is a generic SLA program. This happens to be one that is being used for the receivables module. The resolution was the new profile option SLA alternate application ID would have to be set at the responsibility level for each of the corresponding responsibilities. And in this case, they have two patches. One, they're saying that to add the profile option, one to correct the air condition. I'm not sure if this patch to correct the air condition is necessary in all environments, but certainly this patch, 833-2032, would be necessary to apply to your environment in order to enable or insert this new profile option. Again, the profile option is SLA alternate application ID. And if you haven't applied this patch, that profile option doesn't exist. So I'm going back to this environment then. And let's see, I'm not going back to my screenshots actually, excuse me. So what I did to solve this issue is in this environment, this patch was applied, so I set the alternate application ID profile option to assets, the assets module at the responsibility level. And then I went back into switch responsibilities, JTH Custom Asset Manager, and was able to run this program successfully because then it passed that alternate application ID through to the program with the module of assets in the SLA program, and was able to understand. So just to recap this issue, if I go back to the top, if you are using a custom application and you have a custom application similar to this environment where I've got a custom application JTH test and I've got a custom application applied to a responsibility, in this case it's a custom responsibility, SLA programs, some or all of them probably really shouldn't work. I haven't tested this thoroughly, but I'm assuming that all of them wouldn't work because they're dependent upon the program passing or the parameters passing through the application behind the scenes in order to know what application that it needs to process the data or to report on the data. So if you're upgrading from 11i to R12, hopefully this information was valuable to you. Again, if you want to contact me with any questions or comments on this or any other web blogs, my email address is jhare@erpra.net. So it's JHARE@erpra.net. Thanks. Have a great day.